Hey guys, Cat Demon 43, and before I do my big spiel on this, I just gotta make an apology for not recording really much of anything the last little while. I got sick, and I also had a lot of work dealing with an annoying chapter of a book, of my vampire book, that was just being a pain in the ass, and I couldn't really concentrate on anything else because it was just really bothering me that much. Yeah, it's not, I'm not trying to make an excuse or anything, it just that happened. But we are back with the letter, and last time we left off, I debated on continuing or not, but I was just, nope, too scared, not gonna do it, just nope, all of the nope. So yeah, we're back here, we're gonna be dealing with ghosts. Fun time, so let's get into it. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Fuck. Oh God. Curiosity sinks in and I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen. Why? And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I am going down into a dark and humid underground. Yeah, no. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it is either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I am not as wholly benevolent. So I will save my game, and now we are not opening the hatch. We are going to be a smart individual, and we're going to call them out. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry, just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I am standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with did not sit well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me?
Oh dear.
Why, I ought to.
Uh-oh. I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as it seized me. Oh, it's you. It is only Johannes, I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that.
So yeah, I had a feeling if we went this way, we'd see ghosts and stuff.
You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I was... I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least, I'd like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman?
There's no crying woman. Yeah.
Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
She's not there, sweetie.
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. I tug at the hatch for a good measure, prove his words to be true, too. The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There is a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me to my feet. What he says makes sense. And who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? What? You used to be a doctor? What? Why are you a butler then? I'm so confused. I am just tired. That's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke, that has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night.
Good night, Johans. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house, or there is something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. Friday. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide or hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as well, as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxbourne is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Ooh, neat. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Oh, that's cool. I like that. It's not just a whole gathering of rich, I have more money than you, that kind of thing. I like that. Hannah, you're getting even more, I like you even more. Marianne and I discussed business, the last minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change for our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the right mansion.
She's blushing again. Do you have a crush on Hannah?
There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. Yeah, 'cause you're pregnant. In the end, he had to... Acquiescent. I don't know that word. Acquiesced? Oh, whatever. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. Oh, it's on concede. Oh, okay. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit in one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And, on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up for the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
Yeah, you jerk. No, I did not agree to him having a... Right, I forgot. He wanted a helicopter pad. No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No,
Well,
he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whine about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones, like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person, and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see.
Mm-hmm.
That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Oh, I know where we're going. Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever, with a plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although it does not make things better if she has no interest, and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Do I want her to be honest? I think you would.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it. I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I'm almost to believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up an act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships, so grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm, despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. Aww. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-right resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. What can we can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel that there is still a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely, he will see some sense. There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Oh, wow. I know the phrase, it's better to be early than late, but geez, don't complain if stuff isn't ready when you show up early. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Oh yeah, now I can read the journal. During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was this crying woman. Oh, that's pretty. Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, Hannah asked for Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about, after the latter excused herself from attending the party. Okay. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency which provides staff for Wright Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and silverware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. Yeah, 'cause the wine cellar is a pretty frickin' scary place. To pursue the stocks to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails.
Oh my god.
Snails are for the dishes.
Oh my god. It's like Ramsay Gordon, jeez. A string of quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up the front. Oh wow, that is a fancy looking cake. And a deer sculpture. Pretty. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-layer tier white chiffon, one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and light dusting of edible gold leaf. Oh my god, just a 5-tier? Are you kidding me, sweetie? Oh my gosh, that's like insane. I would take a photo of the cake. And then take a piece and eat it discreetly. But despite the fact I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
Yeah, we need to have a good frickin' talking with him. The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I cannot help but add another question to my growing list of inquiries. When did I lose myself? It was always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Surely, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom, so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money, and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor, liaison, and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans. With both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast, or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Seriously, what is it with you two people and hating cats? Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands prefer wives who are docile and subordinate. Pfft. Screw that shit. Sorry, but no. A woman who'll always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children and to take care of them in his absence. They say I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into the retrospective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
Yay! Thank you for taking her out of her mind of self-pity.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, prepping the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand Tourers, supercars, and even the odd high-end muscle car tour. Convertibles and grand saloons and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly those who thought too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are even at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxbourne. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays? Ooh. I can actually see that as like all Christmas lights and everything. That'd be very pretty.
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we are experiencing before the gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether though through convenience or necessity. However, There are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Oh! What? Why are you here? Such is the young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Man from the Orient. Oh, and Rose, too! What's going on? Or that rose-haired woman, talking on her phone while she looks unsure why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crews with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
Zach, I'm so happy. I had invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill, and went through a nervous breakdown with some Oh. So, this Father Norman guy, would that have been the man we would have seen if we were with Zach then? Well, I guess I'll find out when I beat my game for the first time and then go back and do all the other options and such, trying to get, I believe there's the true ending or something like that. But anyway, and I think he might have, died because it's implying ghost, I think. And then there are people like the Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
Ugh, stop being a creep.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
Hey! I'd read a book. Screw that. If it's a topic of interest, I'll definitely chime in and listen. But if it's just about like, oh, did you hear about Rebecca? She got a nose job and stuff like that. No, I'm not interested in that.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Oh God.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body.
Oh God.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Yeah, exactly. This is a housewarming party. What the hell, dude?
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
Sure.
The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
It depends. Every woman is different with pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Lying. You are so pregnant.
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Yeah, shoo him away, please.
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn into the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend now. Ooh, pretty. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly, unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they are not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authorities soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Aww! Aw, that's sad. Then, there's that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard to notice her, with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes, instead, are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, although each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending toward the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I have never seen a face grow so red so fast. Oh, she looks grumpy, though. Cute. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really. You shouldn't be drinking wine.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
But you want him to be.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Oh.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
Oh, gosh.
It's more the latter currently.
Aw.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling And though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Ah, crap, Ghost is back. Are you in the window? Oh, shit! Shit, you're just... Fuck! Okay. Oh, creepy. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Oh, even her mouth twitches. Oh, creepy. Dark-haired and dirty. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. Fuck that. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Oh.
Gales.
Why'd I call her Rose? What the hell? The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor, who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Oh no.
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky becomes. Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I've triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely, I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years!
Oh, that's cute.
I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Yes, you do.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
Oh. There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
Oh my gosh.
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense.
Considering he's a detective, that's concerning.
I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
That's true.
There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her the yellow summer dress? Or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous, remembering all the years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls. As if it's some gossip every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though, look at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at the time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moments as I mull over what she just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather one man. There is only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
Oh, God damn it.
I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could. Even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks, how they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is simply greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a big bit of a swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love the sight of him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share his space. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and make my way to Luke's.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness.
Oh, God.
So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There is a round of applause, cheering, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes as she's already spitting venom. Well, it's not the ghost. Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Oh, is this Rochelle? But that does little to deter her rage. The man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. How much has she embedded in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
Oh my gosh, it is Rochelle.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
Oh boy.
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out amongst the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I am not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
Oh dear.
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask the exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
What?
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Oh.
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the chief inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Says the woman drunk. That's pregnant. It is now that Johannes returns with security, along with a concerned looking Officer Lee. At her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by her pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's it. There's no way that Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he would do it he wouldn't do it in an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely wouldn't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never... You will never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right? Okay, fine, who am I kidding? If I am to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil, to even think the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young, hot bachelor. This starts to make me think, you know what? No. We're taking control. Becky's words are still fresh in my mind. And I can't help but think that the girl, plucky woman that she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I'll have to fight for him, don't I? So far, I've been doing nothing and sitting on my behind, hoping it'll all fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag our name and our relationship through the mud with her lies? At my own party. Determination flares up, and I take a step forward in the middle of the fray. All the while, she has been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I already feel the glow on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious, as in her protests die down. I can see her haughty, angry expression turns into a horrified realization. Rightfully so, she should be scared. What is that thing they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon? They often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think me as only the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment. And you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours. Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? I should feel concerned, but I can't even find an inkling of mercy within me. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, but they all know this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I'm the one ending it. As long as everyone holds their tongue, they don't interfere. None of the consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset, because this does not change what happened. He still has a lot to answer to. Because even if the woman is lying, there's still an inkling of truth in every lie. So, when I turn to him, to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification in an understatement. Of course, there is no reason to make my husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still far too busy in the ballroom, and most of the staff are still in the kitchen. A sharp glance at anyone who will go through the doors is all it takes to make them retreat. At the most private we can get without me dragging Luke all the way to our bedroom is the foyer.
And you,
Oh boy.
We are going to talk about this, Lucille Mitchell-Wright.
Oh, you are so pissed at him. Good.
Not now, but we will talk about this.
Right! I swear that is not my child, no matter what that woman says. Hannah, darling, you believe me, don't you?
I believe that it isn't your child. But you never said that you did not cheat on me with her. We'll have a talk about that tomorrow, among other things.
What for?
Yeah, you're scared. Good.
What other things?
About us, Luke. This isn't right, this doubting each other and not talking. That's why we'll talk. If anyone needs me, I'll be in our room. I'm in no mood to be talking with anyone about anything, especially nosy baggers who have no business with any of it.
Should I be worried? Scared? Because you know threats do not work with me, Hannah.
None of those. You should know I'm not your enemy, Luke. I need rest. That's all.
Of course, you must be so tired. You've earned some peace. I'll take over the party from here.
Good night, love.
Good night, Buttercup.
Sometimes I forget that leaving Luke to handle a party is a horrible idea. Okay. I'm gonna call it here. Alright, the Wright Mansion officially opened its doors with a grand housewarming feast. Zachary Steele, Ashton Frey, and Rebecca Gales were seen attending. However, there was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochelle Lee, the chief inspector's wife, accused Luke Wright of fathering her unborn baby. Oh, there's more. Wow. She doesn't even get a proper portrait. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, Hannah banned her former friend from setting foot in any of their properties. She was then seen dragging her husband all the way to the mansion's foyer in order to set things straight with him. Yeah, so I'm gonna call it here, guys. I think that's a pretty good place to stop. So, yeah. The, next one's probably gonna be the last episode for Hannah's chapter, and this is actually going pretty good. I kind of thought to have Hannah, run away and just leave the party, but seeing how fierce and how determined Hannah is didn't kind of sit well with me. Again, this is a visual novel. You can pick whatever you want. And again, when I beat the game, I am going to go back and look at all my other choices. I'm probably going to have segments of Isabella, Hannah, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I actually really like how this is going so far, and I can't wait to see what will happen next. But that's it for now, you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day, week, evening, whatever, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.